Programmers are a particularly persistent breed. You have to be when you spend most of your waking hours meticulously crafting complex systems layer by layer, like ships in a bottle. These elegant creations are destined for no museum. They are to survive beyond the annals of obscure technology. They must brave the turbulent seas of user opinion. These poor souls watch as their carefully molded architect blends the contours of ever-evolving business needs. Perhaps this torturous cycle is what has pushed so many programmers to develop a bizarre ritual, one that often leaves them drained and sleep-deprived. They sacrifice weekends with friends and family to spend an enormous amount of effort doing the very same work that has ostensibly scarred them in the first place. The difference? The code they write in these hackathons need not be useful. It's a liberating sensation. It was during one such event that I had one of the most surreal experiences of my career. I was working on creating a game in 48 hours that involved you playing as Timmy, who was shrunk down to about the size of an average hand. This meant things that would normally be minor annoyances were now deadly, like flies or spiders. Timmy had to collaborate with his big brother, Bill, a normal-sized human who could protect him, but could not reach all the small crevices to collect necessary items. I had spent a good bit of time on the first day struggling to develop a mechanism to control Bill's arm. The right way was to implement an inverse kinematics solver. Trying to understand the underlying equations was taking too much time, so I eventually made up some fake physics and tweaked it until it felt good enough to control. I felt powerful, designing a human limb with nothing more than my will and my mind. The next big feature was a spider enemy. The enemy was important because it was the only one that Bill could defeat on his own. You needed Timmy to cut the web the spider dangled from. The string dangling physics for the spider needed the same type of inverse kinematics as Bill's arm. I figured I could extend my novel system to make this work, but it wasn't working. I decided to switch to creating levels and come back to this later. It was the final hours of the event and I had only slept just a couple of hours. I was so close to finishing my masterpiece. I had one thing left, that pesky spider enemy. I had overcome everything else so far, which included a fever I had developed at some point in the night. I had to continually douse my body in freezing cold water every 15 minutes just to stay focused. I was shivering, but I could also type, so I soldiered on. But that spider still eluded me. I tried coming up with all different tricks, but nothing worked. I was getting desperate. I needed to create a moderately convincing spider. Why was this so hard? I closed my eyes to think, and that's when it happened. When I opened my eyes again, there was nothing, only darkness. I never imagined that the most terrifying thing I'd see with my eyes wide open was absolutely nothing. Had I gone blind? Was I dead? I wasn't ready to confront the truth, whatever it was. I extended my hands out. I could feel my keyboard and monitor. I was still at my desk, so I probably wasn't dead. I fumbled around until I found my phone and put it right in front of my face, too scared to open my eyes again. I could sense the brightness. I wasn't dead. The power had gone out, which meant I could still finish the game. I switched to my laptop and turned on the mobile hotspot on my phone and brought up the spider physics function. I had 1 hour to figure this out. I stared intently at the empty function on the screen, the only light source in the dark apartment. Then I saw it. A spider, a real spider, on my desk. It was just a lone spider dangling with the tiniest white thread. This was quite peculiar, not just because the spider was right next to my monitor and not in any hidden corner of the apartment, but also because it had a whole, full web set up on the wall above my monitor. Was I hallucinating? I did what any sane programmer would have done. I grabbed the tip of the string the spider was hanging off of, and I gently moved it from side to side. The spider was a lot lighter than I had imagined. It did not swing like a heavy pendulum attached to a rope. It swung more like an upside-down balloon. That was it. A spider was just an upside-down balloon. It was an epiphany. It had to be a sign. The spider must have been divine, sent to me in my darkest hours to expose its secrets. I finished the game and submitted. I ended up winning first place. I was very proud of my accomplishments. And years later, as I told this story to friends, I was asked what the final code for that spider physics was. I didn't quite remember my exact solution, so I dug up that old file and opened it up. And I found the function, but it was blank. I must have saved it in an older version somewhere, I thought. I compiled this version of the game just to see what was missing, and there was nothing missing. It was the final version. It was all there, including the dangling spider. My eyes darted from the realistic spider physics on the screen to the empty function in the code, and then back. I turned off my computer and closed my eyes. I was not ready to face this, whatever this was.